So today we're going to go over 5 ways to win at BRRRR, especially if you're a beginner. BRRRR is a great strategy to buy rental properties with little to no money down. But what are the 5 things that most people do who are very successful at BRRRR?
Money, 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 hard money, Mike. Money for real estate investing. Let's make money, 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 money. HardMoneyMike.com.
Hi, this is Mike with Hard Money Mike. And how do people win? I mean, we've been doing the BRRRR strategy even before it was called BRRRR. We've done thousands of transactions helping people with both loans. So we've seen a little bit what wins and what does not win, what people are successful at. So that's what I wanted to go through today. So the number one thing that people do who are in BRRRR is they understand what it is and what it is not. And we're not talking about just that it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. But we're also talking about it's all based on buying undervalued properties. So they understand to do this right, you really have to search around, look for those properties that are under market. Typically, we're going to go through this a little bit later, you want properties that are at 75% or less of the ARV. So you're looking for discounted properties that are problems for someone else that you could actually take on, fix up, get them in your rental pool, and hopefully use the 2-loan strategy of buying it with a hard money loan and refinancing it with little to no money out of your pocket. So number one, people understand what BRRRR is and what it isn't, because we see a lot of people who get into this and they're like, we want to use the strategy, but they're buying at 90 or 95%. They're actually buying almost at close to retail by the time they put money in, they hold it. They might as well not use the BRRRR strategy. BRRRR strategy is used when you're buying that under market properties and you're using the 2-loan strategy so you capture that equity and you don't have to bring any money out of pocket. So BRRRR, for real estate investors who are just beginning, what are the things that the people who have done well understand? What do they look for, especially if you're a beginner in real estate investing or just a beginner in BRRRR? What are the things that you really need to look at? Number one, you need to understand the numbers. I mean, BRRRR is all about numbers. And if you're really looking to get into BRRRR with that zero down, you have to know your numbers. And you have to not take this as an emotional thing where you start bidding stuff up. So you need to know your numbers. We always call it 75%. Though, and the reason for the 75% is that is what you could refinance into a conventional loan for on what they call a rate and term. So the 75% and below allows you to get into a property with zero down. Now, there are banks out there, and you should check around, because we know, like even in Oklahoma, there's a bank that will actually go to 85% of the after repair value as long as you've put everything into it from the purchase to the rehab. So know your numbers. Actually get a team together. You need a good team. You need to find the properties. You need to find these under market properties. So you need to find a good realtor, a good wholesaler, or actually you need to find several of them. You need, of course, to find a good lender. And it might be just a hard money lender to do the bridge, to buy it, to get it fixed up, and then a different lender to actually do the long-term or the permanent loan, and that refinance is where you capture it. So you're going to need the wholesaler, you're going to need to know the lenders, and you're going to actually need someone who can actually come in and fix them up for you, because you need to do this quick. Ideally, when you're doing a BRRRR, from close to close, you should be within 90 days. So you buy it, you fix it up, you're refinancing it, and you're renting it within 90 days. That's ideal unless it's a big project that you're taking on and there's a lot of upside to it. And the last you'd really need if you're looking for passive is a good property manager, or at least someone who could look at and find the good tenants, because you want to make sure you're getting good tenants in your properties, because that's probably one of the biggest things that people fall into. They just take whoever's there. They don't do background checks. They don't do any of those kind of things, so they end up with a problem tenant, and then that just makes them not want to keep going on. So doing this right, making sure you have a good team, making sure you know your numbers, making sure you don't get emotional about it. Stick to the numbers. This is real estate investing. This is to create the money to live the life you want. So stick with numbers, find a good team, and make sure you find good renters, that are going to take care of your property, and make sure they're paying you all the time. That's where it gets easy, and that's why BRRRR, you could expand quickly by doing this, but you're not going to want to expand if you're having problem renters. So make sure you do all of these things when you're looking at BRRRR, especially for the beginners out there. The next item that people do that are successful in this is they know what is a BRRRR property, a good BRRRR property, and what isn't. Number one, typically in the BRRRR strategy, you're using this in single-family properties. If you're getting into multifamilies and even some of the other commercial kind of tenants, the only big difference is most of those lenders will require you to hold the property in that bridge loan for at least 12 months. And it might be even 12 months after you get tenants in, so it might be 12 to 14. So know the properties that you're getting into. Make sure that those properties, before you purchase it, actually the rents in the neighborhood are going to, make you money. If you're looking at BRRRR for vacation rentals, make sure you do your research on what is renting in that area, what fix-up level you need, are there hosts in the area. So when you ideally want to find properties, of course, that people want to live in or want to rent. So make sure they're in good areas, make sure they're in areas that you want to go to, and like I said before, one of the things with the BRRRR properties is they have to be under market. You have to be getting a good deal, a problem property that you could take on and actually create the cash flow by putting zero or little to no money into it. So find the properties that fit what you're looking for. Don't just buy properties to say you own 10 properties and make no money. BRRRR is all about making cash flow, every month getting that cash flow. So if it's a VRBO or a regular rental, make sure they're in good areas, make sure the numbers work, and do everything you can up front. Go through some tests, go through some test runs, just to make sure you understand what you're getting into in the areas, because I see so many people do their first one or two and then stop because it's not what they expected. They had to put too much money in. The areas were not good. They can't get the renters, or the rent is not paying for it. So do your research, find the properties that make you money, because there's no other reason to get into real estate investing except to make money. So one of the things I talk about is knowing your numbers. So we're going to go through a BRRRR example of what is the ideal BRRRR single family house, so you actually know the numbers when we talk about the 75% rule. So the couple numbers that you need to look at just so you could quickly analyze a property is one thing we call the 75% rule. And this all goes back to one thing, and that is if you're looking at a conventional, the best rates, the long-term, the no prepay kind of loans for your permanent side, the second loan of a BRRRR, you need to be at or below 75% if you want nothing in. That means your purchase price plus rehab plus any carry costs all have to fit under the 75%. And that 75% is the after repair value. So what you're looking at is you're buying a property, and maybe it's going to be the neighborhood shows the properties in the neighborhood are going for $200,000, all fixed up on the market and sold. So whatever you're fixing up, whatever level it is, it's going to be, in this example, it's going to be worth $200,000. So when you're looking at this and you want to put nothing in, you're going to have to be at 75% of that $200,000 or $150,000. That means your purchase price, your rehab, all your carry costs are going to need to be under $150,000. If it's not under $150,000, that means there's money that's going to come out of your pocket. That also includes any closing costs for loans. So whatever you're looking at, the quickest, the fastest thing that people do when they're doing this and they understand it is they do a quick 75% refinance. As I said, check in your market, because there are some banks out there that'll go up to 85% as long as it's all hard costs and refinance. But those things change all the time as interest rates increase, as money's getting tighter. You're going to probably see banks even come down more. So know your numbers. Right now it's 75%. If you know it's 75% of what the value will be when it's on the market or what it would be in a normal market, you need to keep everything at $150,000 or less to walk into a property with no money down using the BRRRR method. So number 5 on our list is BRRRR lenders. So people who are getting into this, who understand, who do well, they understand that this is a two-pronged process, BRRRR, buying properties under market and getting the finance correct, which means the purchase money. So if you're doing this, you have to understand and get together the lenders. Typically, there's a hard money lender or a private money lender up front. And then on the second half, there's some kind of lender out there who is either going to be conventional, which is your traditional loan, or if you're looking at something that maybe you filled up. So traditional loans are your 30-year fixed rates that you see out there all the time. They limit you to 10 properties. So if you have more than 10, including the house you live in, you can't use them for any more properties as you purchase them. So there's a limit there. There's also a limit on loan to values and if it's in an LLC or not LLC, because conventional will not let you do a loan in an LLC. So there's other options. So the people who are doing this right understand all their options. There's DSCR loans, which are basically no income loans. And they come in all kinds of flavors from 5-7-year ARMs to 30-year fixed. There's also banks out there, like I've said before, who do refinances of properties, but you have to also understand on the lending side, on the money side, that those banks, the majority of them want at least 6 months seasoning, that you own it, maybe even rent it for 6 months. Some of them even want 12 months before they'll use appraised value. And you really need to use the appraised value in BRRRR. That's what it's all about. You buying it under market, use an appraised value. So the people who do the lending side correct, they set up all their lenders before they even jump in. So they know how much the hard money lender will lend them. Is it 90% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab? Is it 100%? We do a lot of 100% loans as long as they're under that magic, 75%, because we know they get refinance out. So when we set them up, we could really do a rate and term and there's no money out of their pocket. So the last thing that people do is they understand the money side, they understand the lending side, so they could do this correct. They don't get into a property, try to get it fixed up, and then start figuring out, once it's fixed up, once it's rented, then try to figure out the long-term loan, and are they going to get the money, the cash out? They figure this all out up front. Who are the lenders? What will each lender do? And what best fits my strategy now, or my ability now? And what will help me, what do I need to change to even get better lending in the next 6 months to 12 months? So the last thing is they understand their lending. Leverage is huge in BRRRRs, so you have to understand, you have to have your lenders in place. So you need to work on that before you go out and find properties and actually get them under contract. So if you want to win a BRRRR, you have to just do it right. This is a business. This is a way for you to make money in real estate. So those who actually take the time to learn, to get their lenders set up, to get their team set up, those are the people who actually win at this game, who it's easy for. Everyone else kind of just makes it hard. So we have a lot of other great videos out there. Please subscribe, even share this video. And also, since real estate is heavy on the money side, the leverage side, that's what it's all about. You need to understand all about finding properties under market, but you also have to find the right, as we call it, the right fuel mix for your business. Real estate investing is just a vehicle that'll take you to where you want to go, which is hopefully financial independence. But you need the right fuel. You need the bankers, you need the hard money, and you need either real OPM, and you have to be able to be comfortable with it, because if you're not comfortable with it, you're just going to take the first lender who comes along, and it's going to cost you money. It's going to slow you down. If you don't put the right fuel mix into your company, into your investments, it's just you're going to make it harder for you compared to some of those other people out there. So what we came up with is a 30-day fuel up challenge. We've been doing this for 20 some years. We've done $1 billion plus in just private loans. We've helped thousands of investors. So what this does is it gives you a little head start. It gets you in and figures out who are the best lenders for you right now and who will be in 6 months. What do I do, or what do I need on my credit? All those kind of things. So this 30-day fuel up challenge is something I think that could help you, actually fuel up your investment. Make it go a lot faster, make it go a lot smoother. If you don't get it right, it's just going to be clunky, it's going to be hard, and most people just get out after the first deal. We see 70 to 80% of the people after their first deal just jump out. So Don't jump out. This is the way to your future. So we'll have a link below, or just email us. We'll have an email below too. As we always say, happy investing.